Hello, welcome again to our coloring tips in Marco Pola Coloring. Today we're going to talk about choosing the right type of coloring paper. You may want to use colored papers and craft paper, but those I don't regularly use them for markers. So if you want me to talk a little bit about them, let me know and we'll do another video. What I'm bringing you today is the 3 papers that I use the most in my videos, and I'm gonna tell you which one is my favorite. Today I'm coming with 3 different types of papers. The less than 90 grams paper, which is a thin paper, you can see through it. 250 grams, and this one is my favorite, and I will tell you later why, okay? This is a thicker version, you can see the difference, especially when you touch them, right? But you can see this is a thicker paper. And the third one, it's the Craft UK Limited, 300 grams. These are 3 random, I've bought several papers. So after testing a few of them, and I typically get them in Amazon because I'm lazy and I want them to be shipped to my house. My favorite is the Clairefontaine. Okay, and I'm gonna talk about grams. So the grams are important. So you would think, okay, Craft UK is the best one because it's 300 grams. I'll put a picture of how it looks like in the box. I didn't kept the cover page, and it came in a 100 pack, and the price was 13.90 euros, which is a total of, it's around 40 cents of euros per page. The Clairefontaine, which is this one right here, and it's specific for a printer, it's a little bit over a cent per page. And I don't recall how much were these, but this is gonna be the less expensive. It's gonna be, I don't know, but let's say the less expensive option. Because maybe you can find 500 pages for 5 euros. It depends on where you get them. The reason why I like this one, and when I bought it online, it says it's a copy laser inject. I like to print pictures in my printer, so I want to make sure that my page is gonna fit my printer. And something I did not know is that my printer can print up to 250 grams, which means that this one is good for the printer, but the Craft UK, which is thicker, the 300, is not good for the printer. So the less expensive, okay, yes, it's good for the printer. The second thing you want to test when you're coloring is if it bleeds through, right? So let's try with the pink. And I'm gonna do, you've seen that already. I'll leave you the links down below in case you like one of these papers and you want to purchase them. For coloring, and I'm gonna do 2, and I'm gonna do another 2. Wow, see? My table gets dirty, so it bleeds through. So that didn't pass the test, you see? Okay, you can't use both sides. Okay, let's use the same marker. I'm using an Arteza. So I did 1, 2, 1, 2. And this is the Craft UK, which is 300 grams. And you can see, I don't know if my table got dirty with this, but you can see it bleeds through also. So you cannot use both sides, but the bleeding is okay, no? Well, the bleeding is not okay, I think. I think you cannot use both sides. And I'm talking about markers, right? If you're using maybe a different coloring technique, you're using maybe crayons, you can do both sides. Okay, and that's my favorite. Yeah, I love it. There's something you have to try, like the touch is so soft. I mean, didn't happen with the other two, so I'm gonna just write the soft category. It's really soft. And the bleeding, there is some bleeding, a little bit less than the 300 grams, which is interesting because you would think this 300 grams it's gonna be better in this, and see. So bleeding, definitely bleeds. I could not use the back side. But it's not so bad. I mean, how do you say? Pichi, no? So. And if you take a closer look, and I want to make sure that you can see that. Okay, for this paper, the extension of the color was not very bad, but for this one it's kind of I don't know if how's the name, it's como borroso, it like feathered or like blurry, the blurry effect. I don't know if you can see that, like it seems like the paper soaked the paint. So that's what's gonna happen when you color. So if you want a sharp finish, this one is much better. See, the color stayed exactly where I applied it. And we can do the blending test so you can see that in more detail. But that's, for me, something that I value a lot. Like, so I talked about softness. This is not soft. And that one's not soft. Precise application. For this one, I see that the color expands after it's applied. And yes, well, the color, I don't know. Let's do another test for this, for the color in place. So let's see, I do a square here and a square there and a square there. And now I'm going to do, this is a different color. So I'm going to apply blue. Okay. I'm going to apply blue in this one. And I'm going to apply color in the 90 grams. The page on the bottom is going to get dirty. See? While I was doing this one, the page on the color didn't get dirty, and this didn't even show up here. But another interesting fact is that, remember, and I'm gonna write it like big, this is the 300 grams, and it bleeds more than the 250. 250. I find it really, really interesting. So it stayed in place, but what happens? Okay, I want to see if I didn't pay attention on this one to see if the color was like moving. So let's do it. Yeah, it's moving. See? I applied it and then it, and here definitely moved. Yeah, it barely moved. So very precise on the paper. So yes, you can see how paper is important. So next time, what? Definitely read that one. Oh, that's something else. It depends on what you want to do with the paper, right? Because this one, for coloring with markers, I think it's ideal. But on the other hand, if you are going to craft, this is a craft paper, right? It's not for printed. This is gonna be more stable. Like, see, it it can almost stay, you know. And this is not intended for crafting. So let's say for crafting, I agree, they're great for crafting. They're very firm. Okay, this paper is not for crafting. And you could use it, but it's not intended for, I'm gonna say that's a question mark, not intended for crafting. So my recommendation when selecting a paper is, and I'm gonna remind it to you, okay, first, just because it has a bigger grammage or more grams, just because it has more grams doesn't mean it's gonna be better, but make sure at least has a good amount of grams. Like 90 grams, no, it's too little. Like you're going to need protect the next page, and you're definitely not going to be able to use both sides. If you're going to print with this paper, I would say make sure your printer is going to allow you to use that many grams. So my printer is not good for the 300 grams. But if I have to craft, or when I'm writing messages, when I'm packing my ladybug masks, I use these papers to write notes to my customers. I think this one is ideal for that, so I write them a little letter and send it to them. And for coloring, I would say this is your best bet. It's half the price, 7 cents per page. It's a good, it's thick, so if you're going to keep it or you want to display it somewhere, it's going to be a nice page. It's going to stand, and it depends on how much blending you do. You may be able to use the back side, although I don't typically do that, but that's something that, well, maybe you're interested. And also, I wanted to tell you that when you're doing your swatches, my recommendation is that you use the same paper that you're going to use for your prints. And in this scenario, I have to say I'm using that one. But see, for example, it's interesting the difference, how the pink changed from one to another. So you probably have guessed it, my favorite is the Clairefontaine. Did I say that already? So I will leave the links for all of the papers in the link down below in case you're interested in one of them, so you can find them in Amazon. I buy them in Spain, Europe, but I'll search both the Spanish and the US version in case you're interested. And yeah, these are the colors that I use, and these are the pages that I use. I hope this video was helpful. I'm thinking in creating another video talking about picking the right coloring book, because I think I've learned a lot during the process. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and here's another cool video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. That helps me creating more content, and I'm very looking forward to keep sharing coloring tips with you. Bye.